Sabbath, boys and girls. Happy Sabbath, boys and girls. And happy Sabbath to my bigger boys and girls.
Happy Sabbath.
Now, children, our story today has a king in it. And we do something very special when certain dignitaries enter the room. So we're going to all stand for King Darius. Now, children, King Darius was the ruler of a great city. Who can tell me what was the name of that city that that Darius was king of? I gave you a hint. Babylon. Now, Babylon had a lot of, servants already. But King Darius, I don't know if he was a greedy king or what, he wanted more people to be in his kingdom. So he went to a faraway land and he captured some children and some other people and he brought them to Babylon. Now, one of these persons that he captured was named Daniel. And Daniel and his friends came to live in King Darius' house and in his court. And Daniel, because of his faithfulness to God, he became popular with the king. So the king set him above everyone else. And there was something that Daniel liked to do. Daniel liked to, kneel down and he would face his hometown. And he would pray 3 times a day to his God. And who's the true and living God? Who's the true and living God, children? Yes. But Daniel had 2 friends who, they were jealous. They were not really his friends, but they were jealous of Daniel because Daniel was put in such a high esteem. And they plotted against Daniel, so they went to the king. And they went to the king. And they did their usual courtesy. And they said, King, you are God above all else. And I think that everyone should bow down and worship you. But the king wasn't aware that Daniel, one of his favorite man in the kingdom, prayed to his God. So the king said, okay, I'm going to make this decree that nobody in my kingdom should worship anyone but me. So the king signed the decree. And he told them to go and to tell it to everyone else in the kingdom. And they left. But Daniel was faithful and he kept praying. And he kept praying. And the friends went and they saw Daniel praying. And they spoke amongst themselves and said, but I don't understand how come the king made law and they're still here. Daniel's still here praying to his God. No man, we have to go to the king. We have to go report this to the king. And they went back to the king. And they told the king that, King, you have someone in your court who is praying to another God. They're not praying to you. And the king was mad. He was upset. What? But I'm the king. I am lord of all this province. Why is it? Go and, soldier, go get that man for me. Go and get Daniel. I don't understand. He's my favorite. Let Daniel disobey me. Soldier went for Daniel and brought him before the king. And his friends were there and they had this smile on their face and they were happy. And the king said, Daniel, I don't understand. And Daniel said, King, I have to be true and faithful to my living God. And my God said there should be no other gods before me. And the king shook his head and said, Daniel, I'm so sorry, but it's the law of the land, and you have broken it. I have to take you and I have to throw you in the lion's den. So the king gave his soldier an order and said, take Daniel and put him in the lion's den. And because the king loved Daniel so much, he had to go with him towards the lion's den. And the king went and he was so sad to know that Daniel was thrown in the lion's den. And he said, Daniel, I hope your God will protect you. And the lions roared. Lions roared and they were going to eat Daniel. But guess what happened? God sent his angels to protect Daniel. And because Daniel was so faithful, God sent the angels, and the angels protected him from the lions, and they closed the lion's mouth. In the morning, the king got up and he hurriedly went to where Daniel was. And he shouted, "Daniel, Daniel, was your king able to protect you?" And Daniel got up and he said, "Oh king, live forever. Because I was faithful to my God, he protected me." And the king was happy. And the king said, "Truly, your God is a true living God."
Amen.
And the king sent for Daniel's two friends. Sent the soldiers to Daniel's two friends because he realized that they were trying to get Daniel killed. And he said, "Throw them in the lion's den." And they were thrown to the lion's den. And the angels left. The angels left because these men were unfaithful and the lions devoured them. Now children, who can tell me what they learned from this story? Anyone? Always worship God. So always worship God. Amen. Anyone else? Okay. So because Daniel was what? Faithful. And he was obedient. When he was thrown in the lion's den, he had enough faith and he trusted God that God would deliver him from the lion's den. And it's the same with children. Whether you're at school, whether you're at home, wherever you are, always remember to be faithful and obedient to God. Now we're going to, Burnett, we're going to go back to our seats now, children. And please remember that always put your trust in God. And we'll have the children's choir to sing right after the children leave.